I'm Shane Snipes, and you're listening to Sustainable1000.com and watching us on the internet as I've explored the sustainability issue from now 800 and some odd perspectives. It's been pretty amazing to go around the country and explore what these different things mean from so many different angles. And as I've traveled around, you guys have been in touch with me via Facebook and Twitter and all these different things. And so I've had the opportunity not only to explore some of the ways that you guys live sustainably, but also get some of your ideas and ask people questions in relationship to that. So that's why I'm here with Keys Energy today. I'm excited to be down here in the Florida Keys.
Nice to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be
here.
here.
You brought the winter weather with you.
I brought
quite
you some
cold outside.
Some Seattle weather.
It feels like Seattle outside.
A little bit of
it's sunny
rain.
though, at least. Yeah,
Exactly. It comes and goes. We can't really transplant our full Seattle weather to you guys. It doesn't really fit here too well. So I'm here chatting with Julio, and Julio, as Director of Communications and as exploring what communications is and energy company, have you found that the message of green and being sustainable is an easy thing to communicate to residents in the Keys?
it's easy now. I'll say that our kind of push with green, as with a lot of the country and the world, really started in 2007 with An Inconvenient Truth, believe it or not. When that movie came out, a lot of us directors, all of us bought the DVD and kind of passed it around and watched it because we knew this was something that was definitely going to be, a hot topic, and it was something that was going to impact us, for better or worse, and I think for better as far as a power company goes. So we definitely watched that, and that helped to spur, and rededicated our green efforts in 2007. Before then, we were definitely, green in that we did a tree giveaway before that each year. We had home energy audits. But 2007 was really a turning point for us, and I think the industry in general, as far as rededicating our efforts and trying to just launch additional green initiatives that weren't there before.
Sure.
So after that point, and after the whole conscience of the country changed and everyone was very green, quote unquote, I think communicating our green initiatives became easier. So it definitely made my job easier because people wanted information from us and they wanted ways that they could conserve energy. So it definitely made the prospect of communication easier.
Yeah, sure. I think that's true. That's definitely true. Starting in the early 2000s, the movement really began. And then, like you said, An Inconvenient Truth created more momentum behind this thing that had been flowing.
It was night and day. I mean, you could really, it was, they won the Oscar. It was definitely the thing. And especially for us in the Keys, 2004 and 2005 were big hurricane seasons for us. We had like 4 or 5 hurricanes each of those years, back to back. It was like the Hurricane of the Month Club. So that definitely impacted our utility in that we had to provide power to our customers and restore power after each of those storms. So that was on the one hand. But after that happened, and then with global warming and Inconvenient Truth, it was all tied together for us. So we definitely had an important role to play, and we were definitely seeing the impacts of that. So we were definitely at a crossroads there and knew that it was going to all come to a head. So
yeah, I don't know if I'd sign up for that month of Hurricane of the Month.
Yeah, it's not good. I'd stick with the Fruit of the Month or something. It's not
exactly.
good.
Wine of the Month, just get me something like that. Stay away from that one. I'm not sure where you sign up for that. But in terms of some of the things that I see around green marketing, people always think about greenwashing. As an energy company, utilizing different resources and different ways of bringing energy to people, how do you explain to people or tell a message that really connects with them that isn't greenwashing? You know what I mean? And for you, I guess that's describing kind of what greenwashing is from a company perspective. What would you consider greenwashing?
I'm not sure I understand the term. I've never heard greenwashing before, so I don't know if we could just start there. But
yeah.
I'll tell you this. In my experience, I've been with the company 7 years, and obviously, for that whole time since 2007, we've been doing our green marketing. Customers are very receptive to green messages that either help them save money or that they get something in return. I have found that our marketing for our annual tree giveaway program, we're going to be in our 16th year this upcoming spring. We've given over 36,000 trees. That's a popular program. We have lines around the block for that. We have a rebate program that's been 2 years going now. That's very popular. Again, they're getting something from that.
Sure.
Our home energy audits, it's the same way. So I find that any messages where they're getting something that can help them conserve, they're very kind of receptive to.
Sure.
But it's that dichotomy. I think a lot of people, you hear our ads on the radio, you read things in the newspaper. It's kind of that passive listening, and if they're taking that next step, I can only hope. I know that our consumption over the past years for our customers have gone down, but I don't know if I can attribute that to just our green messages, because you've had a lot of foreclosures, you've had the real estate market bust, you've had a lot of people leave our area because they can't afford it. So I really can't pinpoint it to, oh yes, they're listening to my green messages, they're turning off, all their extraneous electronic equipment and saving energy. I feel though that if you were to stop a customer on the street, I think compared to maybe a decade ago, they understand, that they need to conserve, and that they can take the steps to save energy and save money. Also, I always try to tell our customers, and in our marketing, I try to say, in conserving, you're also saving yourself money. And I feel that's a good way to kind of trigger them to want to stop. But an interesting kind of just side note, talking about our rebate program, as I go in the community, and as myself, if I go to the local home improvement stores, I myself just renovated a condo and had to buy appliances. And I was talking to the lady, and I was like, yeah, it's great that this is encouraging folks to buy energy efficient appliances if they need to redo their homes or replace something. And she told me something interesting, which I had known, and she confirmed it for me. I think one of our most popular rebates is a refrigerator rebate. They get about $100 back, if they buy an energy efficient one, which is great. And people, if you have to replace a refrigerator, you get the Energy Star one. That's great. But she said a lot of folks aren't recycling or disposing of the old-fashioned refrigerator. They're just moving it to their garages or out in their backyard and using it to cool, beer or soda pop or whatever. So it's that next step. It's like they understand that they need to buy the energy efficient appliances, and they have them, but they're not willing to get rid of the old stuff just yet, especially like a refrigerator. I think that's something hard to part with if it's still working. They're going to put it in the backyard and use it for overflow for the holidays. So it's that next step that we're trying to reach.
There's so many memories in that refrigerator. Yeah. All this food that's been cooked and preserved and whatever.
It's hard to take. It's hard to take that next step.
Yeah.
But I think, just getting back to the question, I think that their consciousness and their understanding of green is there. But, it's if they're willing to take that step. And I talk to people, too. I go around to different groups, and I talk about conservation and steps they can take. They know that they can line dry their clothes outside to save power. Are they always going to? Maybe not, because it's still convenient for them to use the dryer, just like it's convenient for them to use, the heating function on the dishwasher or anything like that. So I think they have a better understanding of steps they can take. I think they take them if and when they can, but they're still not willing to sacrifice convenience, I have found, in my experience, completely in an effort to be totally or 100% green.
Sure. And the line trying thing is one of those things.
Which is easy here. I know in Seattle it might not be, but it's so easy here. And even if you have a condo, as I do, I have one of those contraptions that you pop up. It's those stands you put in your bathtub and you can drip dry. So you're able to do that. But it's if you're willing to take that next step. Mm-hmm. So you have people that do. You have people that do a combination. If it's a nice sunny day, they'll do it. But if they're in a rush, they may use the dryer. So it's that dichotomy, which I don't think it's just limited to the Keys and to Key West. I think that's around the country.
We're all about convenience. America loves its convenience and everything
Fast
that it
food
does.
Nation. Yeah, we want that instant gratification.
We definitely like that. And in terms of greenwashing too, one of the things that comes up with that, and
I need to Google that. This is the first greenwashing.
All right, let me give you the quick definition, and it'll be an example.
Okay.
Because I was just in the grocery store yesterday.
It's not like brainwashing, is it, or is it?
No.
Okay.
Greenwashing is, you have something that's not really green, and you paint it with some green color.
Oh,
you know
okay.
What I mean? So, for example, you have a lot of food, right? And what they've started to do in food now is they've started to put natural on everything. They can't put organic because that is a specific thing. But
they look at the
all natural and all this kind of stuff. And it could be true. It is all natural, but that doesn't mean everything natural isn't good for you. Not all oils are good for you. They may be natural. Not all foods are good for you. They may be natural. So I see all natural, and I go to look for these things. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting really confused now because everything on the counter, when I was looking at cereal, was going, oh God, it all says all natural. And then I go, okay, I have to create a new way of making a decision, which is it has to say organic specifically, because that's the line that's drawn that says we're only going to use organic at least wheat or whatever in
Right.
those cereals. Organic sugar, everything's organic.
Right.
So that's the standard. And greenwashing then is this sort of emergence of putting flowers and trees and all natural on all the products that you see out there.
Okay.
So that's
Greenwashing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in terms of you guys, I don't think that's true.
I hope.
Well, most of your power supply comes from what source?
All of our power comes from the mainland. It's all imported. I'll say that up until the 80s, early 90s, we actually had a steam plant, which is actually behind our building here. It's now a condominium complex that was combined there. But our power up until that point was produced locally. Was not, it was not the most convenient or reliable of power because it would tend to produce brownouts throughout the day. In the early 90s, we energized our transmission line, our tie line that we call, that goes all up and down the Keys. It's the extension cord, I call it, to the mainland.
Right.
That's where we get our power. Our power comes from a variety of sources. The main component is natural gas. You also have, you have some components that are purchased on the commodities market, so it could come from a whole different source.
Mm-hmm.
Some coal, some nuclear, but natural gas is the big component thus far where we purchase our power. Our power, and I should mention just for your viewers, we are part of the Florida Municipal Power Agency. It's an umbrella organization that oversees the municipals in the state of Florida. It allows us to be able to purchase power in bulk as a group, because if we were to just purchase power for our own needs, the cost would be astronomical. But if we pool our resources, the economies, scale with our other members, we're able to get better rates, compared to the larger IOUs in the state and around the country. But to answer your question, though, it's natural gas is the main component of our power mix.
And do you have the programs like a lot of places do now, where you can pay a premium and get the green energy?
Also, we had that program. Not very successful, believe it or not. Again, it's going back to that question. It's not something that they're getting. So we had that program, and we had about 20 customers, and we really marketed that as best as we could, but we only had 20 customers that signed up for it, believe it or not. We still have it. It's used a lot now by our commercial customers, because in order to get certain green certifications, especially for hotels, they have to show that they're buying some renewable power back.
Right.
So it's in place for those instances, but it really was not well received in having large amount of customers sign up for it. Again, because they were having to put money out of their pocket, added to their monthly energy bill each month,
Sure.
and they really weren't getting something tangible in return that they could put their hands on or deposit in their checking account.
They didn't get their all organic green apron.
Yeah.
No, seriously, people like to get things in return unless they can see a specific return. In the case of whether it's a feel-good return, like a lot of people on the Pacific Northwest, they choose. Of course, a lot of our power is hydro anyway.
Right.
So that's one of the greener sources. But in California, for example, where they use all kinds of power sources, there's a big push and a lot more awareness, so people will pay a premium for that.
I'll say that as a result of that, we recently were just awarded a grant by the state of Florida, which is going to help us do some initiatives here in our building for HVAC systems and whatnot. We're also hoping to install another demonstration unit. We've recently installed a solar demonstration unit at the Eco Discovery Center here in Key West in conjunction with NOAA and FMPA. We hope to install a wind project in Cudjoe. And in conjunction with that, we want to see about doing a program more local where customers could help to pay for the maintenance and ongoing maintenance of it, and hopefully get something in return from that because they see it locally. I think the problem with the other program, which we all acknowledge, was that it wasn't local. It was helping to promote programs either in the state or around the country, but not in our backyard. So we're hoping that we can tweak the program and make it more local. We don't have that much space, but people like to see and be able to point to, hey, I helped with that. I'm helping, with the ongoing maintenance of that.
Sure.
Maybe put their name on it or somewhere. So we're hoping to work on a project that could be more local, more tangible for them, and maybe that would be enough to inspire some more interest in it.
Sure. This is it for this segment, guys. We'll be right back in just a second with another piece on sustainability and the utility companies around the nation. Right now we're in Florida, here in Key West. It's exciting to have you on board with us. Keep your questions coming in. I will ask some of those in our next segment. And of course, it is always a pleasure to have you. And if folks want to find out more about what you guys are doing, what's the best website for them to do that?
KeysEnergy.com. And at the top of the site, there's a Growing Green or Everyday icon. Click on that, and all of our green news and info is on there.
There you go, folks. We'll be right back right after this quick break.